And then I'm going to try to share this link onto Facebook. It's going to be, right now, I don't know if I wrote it, but right now I'm in New York at a very special place. I'm near the resting place of the Lubavitcher Rebbe of blessed memory in preparation for the 28th yard site. This Shabbos is the 28th yard site of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I'm in an office right nearby, and it is definitely a chance. I don't know this technical. It says connect to internet. There's something wrong with. It looks like we're just gonna stay. I'm not sure if it's on for some reason or not. Okay, whatever. So I'm just saying that this is where we are, and this is what we're doing. And if it's being seen, I don't know, but for some reason things are freezing up over here.
No, takže Zev sa dnes hlási z New Yorku, je nedaleko miesta posledného odpočinku Lubavičského Rebeho a tento šábes bude práve veľmi významný sviatok, bude to jeho 28. Jahrtzeit a pripravuje sa tam slávnosť. No a okrem toho máme technické problémy, takže možno, že na Facebooku ani nebudeme.
Okay, let me just get this straight. One more minute. And here we go. Let's do the live slideshow. Okay. We're living in a crazy world today. And I think that today's class can answer some of the craziness out there. That it didn't begin in 2022 or in today's era. It began many years ago with Korach. We're gonna try to understand where Korach came from and what he wanted to accomplish, and what his mistake was. Today, the world wants to say that everyone needs to be equality. If there shouldn't be male and female, there shouldn't be any differences. Everyone needs to be the same. Which maybe there's right to this, but we're gonna get down to this. So different yet equal, we're all the same is tempting. It's also premature.
No, Zev vraví, že žijeme v bláznivom svete, ale dnešná prednáška nám pomôže na niektoré bláznivé otázky odpovedať. To, čo sa deje dnes, nie je nové, začalo to už veľmi dávno a práve týmto obdobím sa dnes budeme sa zaoberať príbehom Koracha, budeme sa baviť o tom, čo chcel dosiahnuť a prečo neúspel. Bude konkrétne reč o rovnosti. Dnes je v trende hovoriť o tom, že všetci sme si rovní a nie sú medzi nami žiadne rozdiely. A dnes si položíme otázku, či je to naozaj tak.
Okay. As always, questions and comments are more than welcome and encouraged. So please, if you want to wait until afterwards, but if you can't hold yourself back, argue.
Ako vždy, poznámky, pripomienky a otázky sú vítané. Nemusíte čakať až do konca, prihláste sa kedykoľvek.
Okay, let's begin. So we said, where does the concept of equality come from?
Takže prvá otázka, ktorú si položíme, je, odkiaľ pochádza pojem rovnosti.
We begin in Genesis. You see the pasuk, Vayivra Elokim et ha'adam b'tzalmo, b'tzelem Elokim bara oto, zachar u'nekeva bara otam. And God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them.
Tak a vrátime sa ku knihe Genesis. A Boh stvoril človeka na svoj obraz, na obraz Boha ho stvoril ich ako muža a ženu.
Right, so we read this question and we see two opposites. On one hand is God creating us, so we are all equally created, and at the same time we're created very differently, as male, as female. So the question is really, are we supposed to be oneness of God, or are we supposed to each have our unique quality, our talents, our individuality? Which one is true?
Tak, na jednu stranu čítame, že sme boli stvorení rovnako. Na druhú stranu, už v druhej vete, že sme boli stvorení s rozdielmi. A teraz sa pýtame, čo z toho uprednostniť. Či uprednostniť našu jednotu v Bohu, alebo zdôrazňovať svoju jedinečnosť, svoju individualitu.
So if you're saying that we should be all the same, so how can it be that we all have different roles? So we're trying to get that straight.
Ak teda vravíme, že sme si všetci rovní, ako je možné, že máme každý iný osud, iné životné cieľ?
Right. So again, we're going to begin with the story of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, in all opinions, was the greatest leader of all time. He led us through so many things. He brought upon the 10 plagues from Egypt. He did the splitting of the sea. He took us to Sinai, and he also had at the same time a lot of patience for everything that for all the complaints and everything that went on during this time.
A začneme Mojžišom, ktorého obdivujeme zo všetkých najviac, preto všetko, čo dokázal, od 10 egyptských rán cez prekročenie Červeného mora, cestu púšťou, a pri tom všetkom mal trpezlivosť, obstáť pri všetkých sťažnostiach, s ktorými sa na ňo ľudia obracali.
But to all of this, there was one person that had one great problem with this. Korach saw Moshe and he said, it's not fair. Where's the equality? Why is everyone different? Why are you different? Why are you better? Why are you holier than us? That's a little bit strange, because at the same time, Korach himself was from the family of Kohanim, and he was also very rich. But Korach didn't like this idea of differences.
No a jedným z najhlasnejších sťažovateľov bol Korach, ktorý sa neprestával pýtať, kde je rovnosť pred Bohom, prečo sú medzi nami rozdiely. Pritom on sám pochádzal z rodiny Kohenov, takže z privilegovanej vrstvy bol veľmi bohatý, ale napriek tomu bol nespokojný s týmto stavom.
We all know that Korach's rebellion, although at the beginning he was very popular, and he had a big fanfare, but it ended up in a tremendous failure, and part of the people were swallowed up by fire, some were swallowed up by the earth, so it was a very big failure. Let's read this story.
No a vieme, že jeho vzbúra bola spočiatku, mal veľký ohlas, ale skončila veľkým neúspechom. Časť vzbúrencov zhorela v ohni, časť vzbúrencov pohltila zem a tento príbeh si prečítame.
Okay, so we read Daber el ha'eda Leimar he'alumi saviv lemishkan kairach dasan ba'aviram. Speak to the congregation, saying, withdraw from the dwelling of Kairach, Dasan, and Abiram. The earth beneath them opened its mouth and swallowed them and their houses, and all the men who were with Korach and all of their property.
Prehovor k spoločenstvu, aby sa stiahli od obydlí Koracha, Datana a Abirama, a zem sa pod nimi otvorila a pohltila ich, aj s ich domami a so všetkými, ktorí boli pri Korachovi a s celým ich bohatstvom.
That's only half of the story. And the other half is the Eish Yotza Me'es Hashem Batoichal Es HaChamishim Umasayim Ish Makrive Akteirus. A fire came forth from God and consumed the 250 men who offered up the incense.
No ale to bola len polovica príbehu. Príbeh pokračuje ďalej a zostúpil od Boha oheň a strovil 250 mužov, ktorí obetovali kadidlo.
I'm not sure how much is necessary. I think the story is known. But again, just for the sake of clarity, the story is, again, just very short. There were all the people, just to repeat, all the people that were connected to Korach, his family, his followers, Dasan and Aviram, the biggest troublemakers of all time. They were all, the earth opened up its mouth. Moses actually made a prayer to God, and he said, if the earth has a mouth, let it open up its mouth and swallow them. And then only those that were in that gathering, they rolled down all the way into that hole. It actually brings in the Mishnah and Pirkei Avot that the earth's mouth was already created by the beginning of creation. But Moses said this prayer. He said, God, if the earth has a mouth, let it open up its mouth. If not, God should create a mouth. That was for one group of people. And then there were the Kohanim, the priests. If you read the story, if you remember the story, but just to refresh your memory, there was Moshe told to these people, they were saying, hey, why are you better? Why are you better than us? Why do you deserve to serve as leaders? So Moshe said like this, I'm going to give you an idea, but be very careful. This is toxic. If you mess with the Ktoret, the incense offering has a great power. If God likes this offering, it goes up and great things. But if you're coming with the wrong ideas, then this is death. And 250 Kohanim, great leaders, brought this Ketoras, this incense offering, and eventually their souls departed. Yeah, so that's the story.
Mm-hmm. Tak len na pripomenutie si povieme, v čom ten rozdiel spočíva. Vidíme, že Vzbúrenci boli potrestaní, ale boli potrestaní dvoma spôsobmi a na dvakrát. Jedna skupina v okolí Koracha bola pohltená zemou, iná skupina zhorela. Hovorí sa, alebo teda dočítame sa, že pohltení zemou boli na priamu Mojžišovú modlitbu, ktorý sa modlil k Bohu slovami, že ak má zem ústa, nech ich otvorí a zhltne ich. A vieme sa dočítať v rôznych podkladoch o tom, že teda zem bola s ústami stvorená, že zem mala ústa od stvorenia. A druhá skupina to boli zase koheni, ktorí sa domáhali služby a chceli priniesť kadidlo ako obetu. A Mojžiš ich upozornil. Kadidlo je veľmi mocné. Ak sa Bohu zapáčite a príjme ho, dopadne všetko dobre, ale ak nie, zhoríte s ním. A tak sa aj stalo.
But when we look into these punishments, first of all, they seem completely bizarre, something that has no, it never ever happened before and afterwards. And they seem completely random. And what's interesting is that all of these people were connected by one idea of rebelling against Moshe. So why being divided up into two different types of punishment? Also, there is a principle that says that Hashem deals with us or rewards us, and God forbid also punishes us. Midah keneged midah means one attribute corresponding to that to the same attribute. That means b'midah she'adam moded bo modedim lo, in the same way that one behaves, that is the way that God behaves with someone in return. So we're trying to figure out what are these punishments and why specifically these punishments. This seems to be something completely random, being swallowed by the earth, being burnt by fire. What's going on over here?
No a tieto tresty dva na prvý pohľad vyzerajú dosť bizarne a dosť náhodne. Preto opäť oprávnená je otázka, prečo boli tieto tresty dva, prečo boli potrestaní, rozdelení na dve skupiny a prečo jedna skupina bola potrestaná inak než druhá. Vieme, čo sa týka Božieho trestu, že Boh trestá podobné podobným. To znamená, má tento trest nejakú súvislosť s tým, čoho sa dopustili, pretože vieme, že obe tieto skupiny spájalo jedno a to bola vzbúra proti Mojžišovi.
Okay, so the great Abarbanel from the 15th century in Portugal, he also asks this question, and we're going to now bring it up.
A túto otázku si položil aj Abrabanel v 15. storočí v dnešnom Portugalsku a začítame sa, ako na ňu odpovedal.
Okay. Here's Abarbanel. He says, why did Moses pray for the earth to open up and swallow them, and not for the fire and not for the fire to burn them all And why did he see it fit to pray for the earth to open up and swallow them? What connection is there between the punishment and their sin?
Prečo sa modlil Mojžiš, aby zem otvorila svoje ústa a pohltila ich, a nie aby ich spálil oheň? Prečo bol vhodný na to, aby predniesol takúto modlitbu? A aká je spojitosť medzi trestom a ich hriechom?
The best way to understand the punishment is to understand the sin. We said that it's midah keneged midah. That means that the way that person behaves, that's what he gets back. So now let's understand what Korach's sin is, and then we'll get. But first, I realized that we didn't read the whole. We'll skip out this text in order to save some time.
No tak keď chceme porozumieť trestu, tak najlepšie bude, keď sa pokúsime porozumieť ich priestupku.
So here's the story of Korach. Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahas ben Levi v'dasam va'aviram b'nei Eliyav v'on ben Pelas b'nei Reuven. Then Korach took himself aside together with Datan and Aviram and On ben Pelet. These men, together with 250 of the nation's reputable chieftains, confronted Moses. They surrounded Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You have taken too much greatness for yourselves. This whole nation is holy, and God is among us all. So why should you rise above God's congregation?"
Pripomenieme si teda Korachov príbeh. A Korach vzal bokom Datana a Abirama a ona syna Peletovho a spolu s 250 predstavenými z národa oslovili Mojžiša, obstúpili ho a Árona a povedali im, vzali ste si priveľa slávy pre seba, celý tento národ je svätý a Boh je medzi nami všetkými. Tak prečo by ste sa mali vyvyšovať nad Božie zhromaždenie?
So, again, Korach wants to raise the banner of equality. He wants to say that everyone should be equal. And he starts this argument, and we want to understand where he went wrong. You know, the Mishnah says, we're going to bring down the Talmud. It says that anybody that holds in a machloket, anybody that is always fighting and quarreling with other, is like Korach. So here we have a person that comes with this great idea of making everyone equal. There should be no leaders, and then he goes completely. The end result is that he created the greatest divisions. What went wrong over here?
No, takže Korach teda otvoril otázku rovnosti a napriek tomu do prísloví sa prepracoval ako ten, ktorý vyvoláva rozbroje. Nebuď ako Korach, znamená, to hovoríme ľuďom, ktorí neustále majú sklony sa s každým hádať. Čo sa teda stalo nedobre? Prečo to nevyšlo?
Okay, we're going to bring down first the Talmud, and then we bring the words of the Rebbe, elaborating on this.
Tak najprv sa pozrieme do Talmudu a potom do Rebeho spisov.
The Rab said, the one who is involved in quarrel transgresses a negative precept. As it said, one should not be like Korach and his congregation. Numbers 17:5.
Rav povedal, že ten, ktorý sa zúčastňuje hádky, prekračuje negatívny príkaz, teda zákaz, pretože je povedané, nemal by si byť ako Korach a jeho spoločníci. Kniha Númery 17:5.
Yeah, Rebbe elaborates on this Gemara. How could such a demand for unity among Jews result in dispute? How could the dispute be so polarizing that it's become the prototype for every quarrel among Jews forever after?
No a Rebe sa pýta, ako požiadavka na jednotu medzi Židmi mohla vyústiť do rozbroja a ako mohol byť tento rozbroj tak polarizujúci, že sa stal prototypom každej hádky medzi Židmi odvtedy navždy.
The answer to this is in the words of in the answer that Moshe gives to Korach. What does Moshe say?
No a toto je Mojžišova odpoveď Korachovi. Sorry.
Yeah. In the morning, God will make known who is his and who is holy, and he will draw them near to him, and the one he chooses, he will draw near to him.
Toto je odpoveď, Božia odpoveď cez Mojžiša Korachovi. Ráno Boh dá vedieť, kto je jeho a kto je svätý a pritiahne ich blízko k sebe. Tých, ktorých si vyvolí, tých pritiahne do svojej blízkosti.
You know, what's the greatest thing you can do when you're angry is to take some breath. Don't react right away. Think about it. Sleep overnight. Moshe wanted to calm down Korach. He figured, give him some time. Moshe says, come back tomorrow. Let's not argue about this today. Unfortunately, that didn't cure anything. It only stirred him more. The entire night he spent going around, rallying the people and making the arguments even better. So in simple terms, Moshe was just saying, come back in the morning. But Rashi quotes the Medrash. When he says the words boker in the morning, he was hinting to something even deeper.
No a toto je najlepšia rada, ktorú Mojžiš mohol rozhádaným dať, pretože aj v prísloví sa hovorí ráno múdrejšie večera. Keď sme nahnevaní, najlepšie je predýchať to, ešte lepšie je vyspať sa na to, nechať to trochu vychladnúť a ráno potom s chladným rozumom vec vyriešiť. A o toto sa Mojžiš pokúsil, poslal ich preč s tým, príďte ráno, ale namiesto toho, aby si odvýchli a aby sa na to vyspali, tak Korach pokračoval a šíril ďalej medzi ľuďmi vzburu. Ale Raši má na to ešte komentár, v ktorom odkazuje, že slovo boker ráno mohlo mať celkom iný význam.
Okay, so Moshe was saying, first we see the picture on the board, God set certain boundaries in this world that cannot be blurred. We all know there's morning, there's evening, and each time has its idea. And just like you cannot make morning be night and night be morning, same is true. God chose that there should be a Kohen, there should be a Jewish nation, there should be a day, there should be, all these boundaries were made by God. That's what Moshe was telling to Korach.
No ale Mojžiš tým chcel Korachovi povedať, že hranice, ktoré boli dané Bohom, sú nemenné. Je noc a je deň a na konci noci príde ráno a to je začiatok nového dňa a toto sú veci, ktorých poradie nemožno meniť.
This is Rashi, okay? Quoting the Medrash. Moses said to Korach, God assigned boundaries to his world. Are you able to transform morning into evening? Doing so is as impossible as it would be for you to undo the separation. As the verse states, it was evening and it was morning, and he separated. Similarly, he says, it says, Aaron was set apart to sanctify him.
No a toto je Rašiho výklad v Midraši. Mojžiš povedal Korachovi, Boh stanovil hranice v tomto svete, alebo vo svojom svete. Si schopný premeniť ráno na večer. Urobiť to je rovnako nemožné, ako by pre teba bolo nemožné zrušiť toto rozdelenie. Pretože, ako sa hovorí vo verši, bol večer a bolo ráno a oddelil ich. Genesis 1, 5, 7. A podobne vraví, Áron bol oddelený, aby bol posvetený. Prvá kniha Kroník 23:13.
Yeah, so it seems to be a very simple answer. Korach wants everything. Korach wants everything the same. Moshe explains him that they are. There are differences, but now we're going to realize that Korach had a much deeper argument in what he was saying.
No, takže vyzerá, že všetko je vysvetlené, Korach chce jednotu, ale Mojžiš mu vysvetľuje, že niektoré rozdiely boli dané Bohom, lenže v Korachovej požiadavke je niečo hlbšie.
Okay, here's the idea. The Mishnah says, the world was created with 10 utterances. What does this teach? For surely it could have been created with one utterance. God is not limited. It's not like, oh, he needed to say 10 utterances in order to make everything. This was in order to punish the wicked who destroyed the world that was created with 10 utterances, and to give a good reward to the righteous who maintained the world that was created with 10 utterances. But wait, we'll explain this in a moment.
No a toto k tomu hovorí Mišna, k tomu, že za Korachovou požiadavkou je niečo hlbšie. Svet bol stvorený 10 výrokmi. Čo nás to učí? Pretože mohol byť stvorený aj jediným výrokom. Stalo sa to preto, aby boli potrestaní zlí, ktorí ničia svet, ktorý bol stvorený 10 výrokmi, a odmenení spravodliví, ktorí tento svet stvorený 10 výrokmi udržiavajú. A teraz si to vysvetlíme.
Okay, so what does it mean that God creates the world with 10 utterances? He basically makes all these differences, right? Everything is from God, but he creates this quality, that quality, this idea, something else, and he gives individuality to every single thing. So Korach sees things out of this world. He sees things at a much deeper level. He sees, hey, in essence, this is all coming from God. Everything is created by God. So in essence, everything is really one. He doesn't see the reality that we see. He sees the way, as the Mishnah says, the world could have been, which means that in essence, it is one idea. So that's the way he's seeing this world.
No, a čo toto znamená, alebo čo to dokazuje? Znamená to, že Korach videl hlbšie do podstaty sveta, keďže pochopil, že hoci svet bol stvorený v rôznych formách a stvorené veci s rôznymi vlastnosťami, tak v princípe za tým všetkým bola jeden jednotný stvoriteľský akt. Čiže svet mohol byť stvorený aj celý naraz.
Okay, so now we understand that Korach was as rabbis even say that Korach was Pikeach Hayav. He was a very, very, he wasn't a stupid person. He was a Pikeach, which means is extraordinary smart guy. So we're now going to talk about unity, and there are different levels in unity, and then we'll come back to answer the question.
No, z toho vidíme, že Korach nebol len obyčajný vzbúrenec, v skutočnosti to bol veľmi múdry človek, ktorý mal hlboký vhľad, ktorý pochopil, že keďže stvorený svet je celý na jednotnom princípe, tak sa k tomu dopracoval až k svojej požiadavke na jednotu medzi ľuďmi.
Okay, so one way of when we speak about unity is that every person has their individual role. We don't mix into each other's jobs. You're the teacher, I'm the principal, you're the husband, I'm the wife, etc., etc. Every person has their thing, and everybody does their job. Everybody stays out of trouble. You know, people in Slovakia stay in Slovakia. People, who knows where. We don't mix. We don't get mixed into the wrong things. Everyone respects the boundaries. That's one way of unity, where everyone stays in their own little box and doesn't mix into the other person.
No a ako si to teda vysvetliť, že hoci sme boli stvorení všetci na rovnaký princíp, tak sú medzi nami rozdiely, každý máme nejaké iné povolanie, každý máme nejakú inú životnú úlohu a tieto úlohy sa nám čiastočne môžu, ale v podstate neprekrývajú.
Then we have another idea of unity is that every person influences and contributes to the other.
A potom máme ešte ďalšiu predstavu o jednote, ktorá spočíva v tom, že každý človek ovplyvňuje tých ostatných.
Then we have a third level, which is that we all work together to achieve one goal.
No a tretí stupeň je, že všetci spolupracujeme na tom, aby sme dosiahli spoločný cieľ.
And then there's a fourth level, which is that realizing that underneath the surface, we are really one at its core.
No a na štvrtej úrovni tomu rozumieme tak, že pod povrchom v jadre sme v skutočnosti naozaj všetci rovnakí.
Now we're going to look at this in three different levels. In Hebrew, we say olam, shana, and nefesh. Olam means in space, in different places in the world. Shana means time, where we have different times. And nefesh, which is the souls. We're going to look at these ideas of unity or staying separate on all these different levels.
No a v hebrejčine tieto úrovne pomenúvame olam, čo znamená svet, šana, čo znamená čas a nefeš, čiže duša. Takže na týchto troch rôznych úrovniach môžeme túto jednotu a rozdielnosť pojednať.
Okay, so God creates this world, and we're going to read first about the idea of space, that Hashem gives different levels of holiness to different parts of this world.
No, najprv teda na úrovni priestoru Boh stvoril svet na rôznych úrovniach a s rôznymi vlastnosťami.
And here we have on the board the four ideas that we discussed.
No a pred sebou teraz vidíme 4 spôsoby, ktoré prejednáme.
Okay, but now let's go on to the Mishnah that discusses this idea of the 10 levels of unity in everything in this world. Sorry, the 10 levels of holiness.
Ale teraz sa začítame do Mišny, kde je opísaných 10 úrovní svetosti sveta.
Okay. So, wait, I'm looking to get the Mishnah on the board. Okay. Esther Kedushas Hein, Eretz Yisrael Mikudashas Mikol Ha'aratzis. There are 10 grades of holiness, and the land of Israel is holier than all other lands. Cities that are walled are holier than the rest of Israel. The area within the wall of Jerusalem is holier than the other walled cities. The Temple Mount is even holier. The Chel is even holier. Chel is a part in the Bet HaMikdash. The court of women is even holier. The court of the Israelites is even holier. The court of the priests is even holier. The area between the porch, ulam, and the altar is even holier. The heichal, the sanctuary, is even holier. The Holy of the Holies is the holiest of all, for only the high priest on Yom Kippur, at the time of the service, may enter it.
Tak toto hovorí Mišna k svetosti, je 10 stupňov svetosti a zem Izraela je svätejšia ako všetky ostatné krajiny. Mestá, ktoré sú opevnené, sú svätejšie ako zvyšok Izraela. Oblasť vnútri hradieb Jeruzalema je svätejšia ako ostatné opevnené mestá. Chrámová hora je ešte svätejšia. Chel je ešte svätejší, to je miesto na Chrámovej hore, na ktorom stál chrám. Nádvorie pre ženy je ešte svätejšie a nádvorie pre Izraelitov je ešte svätejšie a nádvorie pre kňazov je ešte svätejšie. Oblasť medzi vchodom a oltárom je ešte svätejšia a svätyňa je ešte svätejšia. A najsvätejšia svätyňa je najsvätejšia zo všetkých a len veľkňaz na Jom Kippur počas bohoslužby do nej smie vstúpiť.
Okay, so here we talk about the divisions and the levels of holiness that we have in the space. The same idea is also within the people. We have the people and time. In time, we would talk about Shabbat. We have Yom Tov. We have Cholamod. We have weekdays. So we have different levels in time. And the same is also true with people. We have in general, there are 3 levels. There's the Kohanim, the Leviim, Yisraelim. Within the Kohen family, then we have from the simple Kohen to the Kohen Gadol, which is the greatest of them all. And then finally, we have the Torah says in Parshat Nitzavim, there are 10 levels of people, Mirashei Shiftechem, from the heads of your tribes, until Shoev Mimecha, that you have the wood choppers and water carriers. So you have this ideas of different levels also in what do you call it, in time and also in people.
Tak toto je predstava o 10 stupňoch svetosti v priestore. Podobne môžeme hovoriť o rôznej svetosti v čase. Máme bežné dni, potom máme šabaty, potom máme sviatky a potom máme Jom Kippur ako najväčší sviatok zo všetkých. Takže aj tam, aj v čase teda možno hovoriť o rôznych úrovniach svetosti. A čo sa týka úrovne duše, tak aj na tej môžeme hovoriť o rôznej svetosti medzi ľuďmi. Máme medzi ľuďmi levitov, medzi nimi kohenov, sú rôzne stupne kňazskej služby od bežného kohena až po veľkňaza a potom máme rôzne povolania medzi ľuďmi. Takisto vieme, že izraelský národ bol rozdelený na 12 kmeňov, takže zase môžeme hovoriť aj o rôznych úrovniach na úrovni duší.
So a simple level of peace would mean that everybody stays in their line. Everyone plays in their own sandbox. Everyone recognizes their job. We don't get mixed up, you know. That is a very primitive level of unity. It doesn't mean that we're helping each other. We're just staying out of each other's ways.
No a jednoduchá predstava o tom, ako udržať mier, by bola taká, že sa teda bude každý držať svojho, nebude sa pokúšať prekračovať hranice, bude robiť to, na čo je predurčený a nebude sa miešať iným do ich práce, ale toto je veľmi primitívna predstava.
A more greater level of unity is when the crowds mix, when they influence not that everyone stays and says, I am, this is my space, not for here, but we actually influence each other. We have this idea that the Kohanim, although they are blessed individuals, but their role is to bless the others, right? So they are supposed to bring holiness, not keep it for themselves, but to share it with others. The same is true about the holiness of the Bet HaMikdash. The idea is not that there should be one place which is holy in this world, and it should stay over there. The holiness of Eretz Yisrael should spread itself. The light of the Bet HaMikdash, the light of the menorah should spread itself and not stay in its own space. That's the idea.
Na trochu vyššej úrovni jednoty sa prejavuje napríklad aj to, že sa navzájom ovplyvňujeme. Ovplyvňujeme sa navzájom v dobrom a uznávame napríklad, že Kohani majú svoju výlučnosť, ale na to, aby pozdvihli všetkých ostatných, aby prinášali požehnanie a svetosť. A rovnakým spôsobom, aj čo sa týka výlučnosti v priestore, Chrámová hora, tu nie je nejaké špeciálne miesto lepšie ako ostatné, ale to, na ktorom stojí chrám a svätyňa.
And when we say the same ideas by Shabbat, the Shabbat, all the days of the week are blessed from the Shabbat.
A toto je aj podobná myšlienka, ktorá sa vzťahuje na šabat. Všetky dni týždňa sú šabatom požehnávané.
And it also works vice versa. It says, I see that the internet connection is a little bit unstable. Your internet connection is unstable.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. We have it also vice versa, that the week also influences the Shabbat. Mi shetarach be'erev Shabbat, yochal b'Shabbat. The one that prepares himself for Shabbat will have what to eat on Shabbat. And spiritually means that if you prepare for the Shabbat, you get yourself into the mood on Shabbat. So Shabbat will be a whole different level. We're not only talking about physically, but also spiritually. So we have this idea where we complement, we bring unity not only by staying in our own space, but by influencing the others.
A podobný vplyv platí aj opačným smerom. Hovorí sa, že deň, ktorý sa pripravuje na šabat, alebo počas ktorého sa pripravujeme na šabat, dostáva niečo z toho šabatu. To znamená, nejde tu o rozličnosť v tom, že si proste každý ideme svojím, ale v jednote sa navzájom v dobrom ovplyvňujeme.
But there's a greater idea. The greater idea of is not only just to influence, but actually we are really one idea. We have this. The Jewish people are created to a body. So just like that, we're going to bring down from the Alter Rebbe that. If a person is feeling sick and he has a vaccine in the arm, it's not a vaccine for the arm. It's a vaccine for the entire body. So really it's accomplished maybe by one person, but it's bringing by one limb, but it's really a completion of everything together.
No a nejde len o jednotu na úrovni vzájomného ovplyvňovania, pretože stvorení sme naozaj v jednote v rovnakom princípe. Zev hovorí príklad, ktorý je nám možno blízky, pokiaľ sme sa nechali očkovať, dostali sme injekciu len do ramena, ale nebolo očkované len rameno, nebol očkovaný len ten jedna končatina, do ktorej sme injekciu dostali, bolo očkované celé telo. Takže jednota je aj na úrovni telesnej.
Okay, so the highest level of peace is, as the Alter Rebbe explains regarding the Jewish people, namely that we all need each other and are all one body. Every limb of the human body has its own particular characteristic and advantage that it contributes to the greater good of the rest of the body. So it is with the greater body of the Jewish people. In the Alter Rebbe's words, this is an analogous to the human body from head to toe. The feet are, at the end of the body, and the head is the top and supreme part of the body. And yet, in some respects, the feet have an edge over the head, insofar as the head is unable to go anywhere without the feet. The feet also keep the body along with the head upright. Another dynamic that demonstrates this, the interconnectedness of all limbs, is the fact that when the head hurts, a shot in the foot can cure and bring healing. What emerges is that the head is incomplete without the feet. It's not just that we help each other. We are not who we are without the other. And so it is with the Jewish people. We are all one body.
A toto sú slova starého Rebeho, čo sa týka telesnej jednoty. Na najvyššej úrovni vysvetľuje vo vzťahu k židovskému národu menovite to, že všetci potrebujeme jeden druhého ako súčasť jedného tela. Každý úd ľudského tela má svoju charakteristiku a svoje výhody, a ktorými prispieva k spoločnému dobru zvyšku tela. Tak je to aj s veľkým telom alebo s pomyselným telom židovského národa. Slovami starého Rebeho je to analogické k ľudskému telu od hlavy až po päty. Nohy sú zjavne koniec tela a hlava je najvyššie, alebo teda najvyššia časť, ale v určitých ohľadoch môžu mať nohy výhodu nad hlavou, pretože hlava sama nie je schopná ísť kamkoľvek sa rozhodne bez nôh, a taktiež nohy udržiavajú telo spolu s hlavou vstýčené. Ďalšia dynamika, ktorá demonstruje prepojenosť všetkých údov, je skutočnosť, že keď hlava bolí, tak injekcia do zadku môže priniesť úľavu. Čo z toho vyplýva, je, že hlava je neúplná bez nôh. A tak je to aj so židovským národom, sme všetci jedno telo.
Okay, so now we just explained it within the people. And again, we have this idea in space and we have this idea in time. Think about it. We wouldn't have, it wouldn't be Jerusalem if there wouldn't be the rest of the world around. It only becomes holy because it's holier than. And the space needs these different levels of the world in order to have the holiness, the holiest of them all. The same is true as with Shabbat. It's Shabbat, it's a calendar, it's a Shana, it's a year which includes these holy days because there are the other days of the week. If it would only be Shabbat, if it would only be Yom Tov, if it would only be Chalamod or any other day, it wouldn't be complete. So we have this idea of, in order to be complete, we need each other. That is one. Each idea brings unity.
A na ďalšej úrovni možno jednotu vysvetliť tak, že keby nebolo každého jedného z nás, tak nebol by ani celok. Z hľadiska miesta Zev uviedol príklad Jeruzalema, ktorý by nebol svätým, keby nebolo zvýšku sveta. Takisto vysvetlil ten rozdiel na príklade, keby boli všetky dni len šabaty, nebol by rozdiel medzi šabatom a bežným dňom a to isté platí aj o ľuďoch.
So now we have two types of unity. We have unity where everything is smeared together. We're all one. You know, there's no differences. And there's no boundaries. But there's another type of unity when everyone's individuality is acknowledged. Every space is important, but we all come together to share one goal. It doesn't mean that there are no differences.
Takže môžeme hovoriť o dvoch úrovniach jednoty. Prvá úroveň je taká, kde sa zotierajú všetky rozdiely a rušia sa všetky hranice a nie je rozdiel medzi jednotlivcami. Druhá úroveň je taká, kde si každý zachováva svoju jedinečnosť a každému je zaručené právo byť jedinečným, ale všetci prispievame spoločnými silami k jednotnému cieľu.
Okay, but now there's even a deeper level of holiness, which is that everything is revealed, that when it becomes revealed, that at its core, it's completely one. For example, if you have the sun, and the sun shines on to different shades of glass. So us, the receivers, can say, look, you know, different colors. They bring out beauty because beauty is when different colors merge together. But then they're seeing beneath its surface that really at its core, it's just one light. It's one God. It's recognizing, as we say in the Shema, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Hashem is one. That Hashem is really the driving force behind everything. So it's taking away the whole cover and seeing what's beneath the surface. This is a whole new level of oneness.
No, ale môžeme hovoriť ešte o tretej úrovni jednoty, že bez ohľadu na všetky rozličnosti povrchové, v jadre sme všetci rovnakí. A Zev uviedol príklad slnečného svetla, ktoré preniká cez farebné sklíčka vo vitráži. Každé okienko vidíme iné farby, ale to je dané len farbou toho skla. V skutočnosti svetlo, ktoré cez ne presvitá, je vo svojom zdroji rovnaké a rovnaký je aj Boh ako zdroj, ktorý preniká nami všetkými.
This idea was revealed to us, brought to us in the world of this seeing where everything is really one. For example, in the Holy of the Holy, in the Kodesh HaKadashim, on one hand, it was 20 cubits long. At the same time, that we are taught that the Aron was 2.5 cubits, or amot in Hebrew, long. And if one would measure from, this is something interesting. If you measure from one side of the holy of holiness till the end to the other side, you'll get 20. Then you take the ark and you measure the ark. You'll see it's 2.5 cubics long. And then you measure from one side of the ark to the wall and the other side to the wall, it's 10 on each side. So it seems to be that the rabbis say, Makom ha'aron eina min amida. The place of the ark actually didn't take up space. How is this possible? How can you have something that actually is measured by space but didn't take up space? That's because in the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the Holy of Holiness, here's where God's unity was revealed. When there's unity, it's hard to understand with our human minds. It's more something we believe in more than understanding. But the idea is that when it's at its core, everything is really one, and nothing takes away from the other. Doesn't take up space. This is in this physical world where we had this reality of digging, going beyond the surface, going under, and seeing the way everything is one. I don't know how much it's understood, but that's the...
Somewhat. No a Zev ešte uvádza príklad úplnej jednoty na priestorovej úrovni. Keď sa začítame, ako vyzeral chrám, tak zistíme, že rozmery svätostánku boli 20 lakťov šírky. Potom sa ale dočítame, aké boli rozmery archy. Zistíme, že bola 2,5 lakťa široká, ale ďalej čítame, že od jedného okraja k stene bolo 10 lakťov a od iného okraja k stene bolo ďalších 10 lakťov. To znamená, že je to ako keby popis niečoho, čo malo priestorové rozmery, ale v skutočnosti žiaden priestor nezaberalo. A podľa rabínskych výkladov toto je dôkaz toho, že vo fyzickom svete neexistuje žiadna výlučnosť, že je tam len úplná jednota.
We had this idea also of in space. We had the Yom Achak B'Shana, the one day in the year. On one hand, it was the day in the year, and then it was called one. This idea of Yom Kippur, which transcends time, and we had only the holy in soul. It was only that Kohen Gadol that it was able to experience that. The high priest was able to be in this space on this one day of the year. This is a whole new level of oneness.
No a takisto z časového hľadiska môžeme rozumieť aj sviatku Jom Kippur. To bol jediný deň v roku, keď veľkňaz smel vstúpiť do svätyne a pozdvihol tým jednotu na novú úroveň.
I see we're over time, so we're going to try to sum up the idea of this class in just a minute or two, just not to go over too much. So we want to understand, now we understand where Korach's mistake and where his idea came from. Korach was, as we mentioned, a very smart guy. He was a very wise person, also spiritually. He saw things as Yom Kippur on its highest level. So he wanted that everyone should be on this greatest level. The problem was that the world is not ready for this level of unity. This is something which is only for the times of Mashiach. Mashiach comes and we say the world will be at this level. For now, today, we need to respect our individual roles. I'm not going to translate that more, but you could understand where the universe today has got it wrong when we want to say that there shouldn't be any separations. We should be all one, because at its core we are all one. That's where it comes from. It comes from Korach. It's not something that was created in today's days. This is an idea. It maybe makes sense, but in practical, Hashem wants us to have our individualities. We're not ready for this level. We cannot handle such a level today.
No a keďže sme už prekročili čas, tak sa pokúsime dnešnú prednášku zhrnúť. a ukončiť. A to asi tak, že vidíme, že Korach bol veľmi múdry človek, ktorý mal veľmi hlboký vhľad o potrebe jednoty medzi ľuďmi. Ibaže táto jednota vtedy nebola možná, nebolo možné ju dosiahnuť a nie je možné dosiahnuť ju ani dnes. Takáto jednota totiž bude možná až v časoch Mesiáša. Dovtedy sa k sebe musíme správať úctivo a s rešpektom voči našim vzájomným rozdielom.
Now we want to understand what was the punishment? What was the idea of this punishment of being consumed by fire and falling, being swallowed up by the earth? What happens is when somebody wants to go too high, you try to shoot too high, you create chaos. When you're trying to go out of your boundaries, and then the fire consumes it. It goes. The spiritual people end up somewhere up there. The lower people fall down below. If that is not the unity that we wished for, where did you go wrong? Because you went too high. I mean, when we want to say, we all need to be the same. We are the same family. So therefore we should all be doing the same things. That only creates chaos. We cookie cutter, we all need to be the same. That is not the idea, and that's the idea. Now we understand a little bit more this idea of the fire consuming the holy Kohanim, which means that the good flies up somewhere high, and any good that was on for regular people and falls below. The goodness that we have cannot be expressed in this way. Okay, I'm ready for comments and arguments, and that is the end of my talk.
Okay, I'll try to make it short. Tak a teraz už možno rozumieme aj trestom, ktorými sme teda debatou, o ktorých sme začali prednášku, a aj rozlišnostiam medzi nimi. Kto mierí privysoko, ten spôsobí len zmätok a nakoniec svoj cieľ aj tak nedosiahne. To znamená, že za úsilie dosiahnuť alebo mieriť privysoko bol vymeraný trest nechať sa pohltiť zemou. A druhá skupina zase, ktorí chceli priniesť kadidlo, ale ich úmysly neboli čisté, tak boli potrestaní trestom, aký vlastne oni sami pripravovali. To znamená, namiesto kadidla spálil oheň ich. No a teraz... Try to make it short. A teraz je tu ešte priestor na vaše otázky, pripomienky, komentáre.
And just to mention again, that anybody that wants their names to be mentioned by the Lubavitcher Rebbe's Sion, his resting place, I'm here now through Sunday. You can send me a WhatsApp. You can send me an email. Rather not to tell me now because I'm not going to record it. But send it to me, and I will be happy to mention your name. For Jewish people, it's mentioned that your name, your Hebrew name, if you know it, and your mother's name, and again, if you know the Hebrew name, and for others it works with your name and your father's name. So you say that, and I will be happy again to mention you for a blessing. This is all the time we have for my talking.
No a ešte ponuka pre tých, ktorí by chceli, aby ich meno bolo